Pats Nation's got the fever. And could the only cure for the fever be a return of the Mac? Well, all I know is the Bears are coming to play the Pats on Monday Night Football, and we are chock full of all the analysis you need for Week 7 in the NFL, because honestly, the product ain't been that great. Best bets, propositions, ridiculous teasers, and so much more coming up on the show that likes to remind you.
See, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
Let's fuck around and find out with Fitzy and Dakota on Dick Pics.
I'm telling you right now, Fitzy.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Fitzy.
Whoa. What's going on, Dakota? What?
Fitzy, I'm telling you right now, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me, Fitzy. Don't fuck with me, okay? Because me and Jerry Jones will come at you and Robert Kraft's ass, okay? Don't fuck with me.
Are you being top? Actually, I should probably say, excuse me? Because that's how it went. Apparently at the league owners meetings.
I mean, don't mess with me.
What was it, Robert?
I didn't mean to say it.
Don't mess with me. What was Robert Kraft and everyone voted in favor of Goodell sticking around and getting another contract because over the last 2 years, he's made $128 million. While the league, of course, has made $15 billion. And why in the world would they want to upset the proverbial rich kid apple cart and get rid of Das Commissionheimer at this point, considering how much money he's made them? And everyone who thought like, yeah, this will be Robert Kraft's chance to get him back for Deflategate and 12.5 this Goodell. They're in the business of making money. And the NFL, which I aptly termed NFL, has been doing just that this year and for a long time to come. And our job this week is to try to make you guys a little extra money. Hello and welcome to Dick Pics. No, we don't share those. Actually, we kind of do. Dakota, Fitzy, we're just a couple of dicks from the South Shore. We like to share our best bets, our picks, and everything else in the NFL because, of course, as we always state, there is no methadone for the NFL. We're a bunch of addicts. We can't help ourselves. Thanks for watching, you guys. We are brought to you by our friends at UnderdogFantasy.com. If you don't have the app, if you've never used that portal, please, by all means, shake up your celery juice. Draw attention to yourself just like Dakota is right now. Sign up. Promo code FITZY, F-I-T-Z-Y, gets you up to $100 match back on your initial deposit. Let's say hello to a couple people that are checking in with us right now. Ooh, the chat box is not working. Ain't that something? Huh.
I see people chatting.
Oh, that's a beautiful
chat
thing.
With them?
No, and for some reason, my chat box isn't working right now. Oh, there we go.
Well,
nope.
From delusional Patriots fan, he says, I just hope you and Ben Volen don't use the same sources. That's from delusional
Oh my
Patriots
God.
fan.
Troll and Volen got murdered. I have to say it in that particular voice. He didn't just get torched. He didn't just get eviscerated. He got murderized.
So what I think you should do, and
which was terrible. And listen, full disclosure, I know Ben. It's not a lot of people that are going to be like, yeah, I've done some broadcasts before. Like, yeah, I've had a beer with Vol and he's all right. Yeah, he got played and he got scorched. He's
Can
not
you
gonna
text him?
You think Ben Volen is going to hop on a live stream with us and talk about the fact that he got blowtorched?
Yes.
For using,
this is the medium.
Not doubling his source? No way.
This is the medium, okay, that I think he should just come on the air and just like talk it through.
Right.
That's
just
what I think.
Crack a bet. There's an article right now at WEI.com. Wednesday, Volen said he received a direct message on Twitter. Shortly thereafter, a Pats fan posted a screenshot depicting the conversation. Complete hogwash. And then, of course, Volen, hey, everybody, just want to acknowledge I made a mistake Wednesday on EEI. I should not have spoken about the DM without vetting it first. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. This is what's so, like, I come to you here today. I'm not promising any sources. I have no direct intel. I don't have any information as to who's going to get the start. I can't tell you who will be under center Monday night. I'm also not going to give you anything about like, I've heard they love Mac Jones or Joe Judge officially is way more on board with Zappe Hour. I don't know any of this. all we can tell you as fans, Dakota, all we can tell you as longtime Pats peoples, we know how Belichick operates. We have a pretty good idea what the organization values, loves, and appreciates. And if anything, I said it last week, it's the unsexiest take in the world, but I'm sticking to it. Number one, my favorite quarterback is whoever is starting for the Patriots, no matter who, what, where, when, and why. So if it's Bailey Zappe, I'm all on board with a Zappe hour. Thank you, Warbuck Designs, for the shirt. And if it's Mac Jones, great. The Mac attack is back. Mac to the future. Let's, Pats Nation, let's ride.
What quarterback in NFL history do you despise the most?
I mean, what quarterback?
Yeah, I'll let you think about it for a second.
I don't even.
Hold on. They're asking me on the chat here. I don't know if you can see the chat. I can see the people chatting.
My chat is still broken.
I can see it, and they want to know what I have. So if you followed me on Twitter at Dakota Happus, I have been posting about celery juice. This is fresh celery juice. It's a bundle just mixed up every morning, and there's nothing in it. But I do want to know, I want to try mixing this with alcohol, and maybe we'll have to have a Zappe hour and try putting different alcohol in this to see what one tastes the best. So this is celery juice.
What are we going to do? Make a celatini? Ooh. A celerita?
And I could have the Zoom.
I can guarantee you a margarita made with celery juice would probably be good.
This is good.
Celery juice is delish. I never thought I'd actually be doing a Patriots and gambling live stream with somebody who would be bringing a mason jar of what looks like frog piss.
I've got tons of these in my
onto the stream. I'm having my third cup of coffee on the day. Yeah, sure. We can't see it. Yeah, I bet it's coffee, Fitz.
It's not nasty.
And by the way, I came up with what I think is the first regional Bailey Zappe cocktail. My initial Zappe hour was 2 shots espresso, and then a generous pour of Bailey's Irish liqueur. You call that a Zappe hour because A, you get Bailey's in there, and B, that'll wake you right the fuck up.
I like that. A little bit high sugar for the type 1 diabetic over here. So I'd have to go light on the Baileys. Okay. Because when I get my espresso martinis, I'm usually light on anything that has a lot of sugar.
Okay. Now, you wanted me to get Volan on the show. That ain't happening.
Why?
I want you to get in touch with Steve DiFilippo or all your friends over at Davio's, or maybe call up the folks at, what's the name of the steak place that you have a house account at Encore?
Rare and Fratelli. Yep. So we could get Nick Verano on. He owns Fratelli.
Right.
So
why not?
I mean, Nick would definitely come on. Well, you know what? We should start
and have them make a Zappe hour. Do 2 ounces cold brew espresso with a Bailey's, shake it up, serve it nice little that's sign language for an up glass. I think.
Here's what I think we need to do. I'm going to reach out to the Zoom tender. He's on Twitter at Zoom Tender. Okay. And he is one of the bartenders, and he's phenomenal, makes the greatest dirty martinis. One of the places that I go for dirty martinis at Grill 23. So we'll get the Zoom tender, maybe on, and he could basically take.
That sounds, by the way, Zoom tender sounds like a form of currency.
Well, what happened was during COVID, when everything was shut down, he still wanted to entertain his bartending professionalism,
tremendous
and was on Zoom and had people log into his Zoom, and he would be mixing drinks, and he was the Zoom tender.
Yeah, so, that is a hell of a great idea. That's good for him. I hope he built a nice little following for himself, and I hope he can keep it up because that's a great idea.
Speaking of following, I'm not sure if you saw my video earlier in the week. I've been trying to get Bailey Zappe some more Twitter followers because there is no way in God's hell some rando like Dakota and Braintree that's on with Fitzy should ever have more followers on Twitter than Bailey Zappe, the starting quarterback of the New England Patriots.
Now, hold tight. Number one,
I've got him an extra 2,000. Don't forget.
Did you really?
Since I've been doing it, I think he had 10.8, and I think he now has 13,000 followers on Twitter. So my message is getting out there. I posted this video the other day.
Good on you. Has he given you like
texted me all the time? Or? Every 100 new followers, I get a text from him.
Get out.
Yeah, some guy. Yeah, it's him. It's DMing me. Ben Volan says it's Zappe, so I gotta believe it. It's Zappe.
Look at you. Look at this guy's quick on the uptake.
Hey, that's really cool. That's a callback in the industry.
Yeah, that's a callback. Some people refer to it as a bring back, others a callback. No. I saw that. I also saw that you went to on Tuesday night before the Celtics impressive opening night dub against the Sixes. I saw that you went to City Winery, got some nice apps, watching the MFM program live and in person. Good on you.
I was there. I do have.
You've had a week. You've had a nice little week, fellow.
Hey, it's been good. This is what happens when you have some free time at night to go out and splurge. I do have one thing. The City Winery is great. That location needs to be built up a little bit because it's like kind of like in between the TD Garden and the North End, and not many people cross over that street. So I don't know what they're doing for the development in that area, but I guess if you are a wine lover or draft beer, you go to the City Winery. The dog.
I enjoy both.
And I will say this. So Christian, Mego, and Lou were there live before the Celtics game at the City Winery, and they had a tomahawk delivered to them. Now, you know how I am with my steak, okay?
Wait, they had a tomahawk ribeye delivered to the three of them to share.
Yep, on the show.
Poirier could eat it alone, and I'm sure Lou could get after it as well.
So here I am sitting down. I'm eating some of the apps that they had, and I see this tomahawk delivered they were about 10, 15 feet in front of me. And they're letting this tomahawk just sit and continue to cook. I'm like, because they were live on the air. So they waited until they went into break to start cutting into it and eating. That tomahawk, which probably come out medium rare, was probably well done by the end of it. You cannot let steak sit for more than 5 minutes from the time it leaves the grill. It'll
10.
overcook 1 to 2 sizes.
You got
1 to 2 degrees. Sorry,
but they say never to cut it 1 to 2 sizes. It doesn't grow. It's not like a mutant science steak. But you got to you don't cut into a steak though for usually they would say like about 8 minutes, because once it comes off the grill, you want all of the juices to come back in and lock in, so that like you cut it immediately, it's just gonna like bleed out in all like the sweet, juicy deliciousness.
So that's more about when you're cooking it on the grill yourself and you want to check the temperature. And if you cut into it, you basically just ruin the steak to try to see if it's done or not. So normally the time it leaves the kitchen to the time it gets to the floor in a restaurant is somewhere around 5 minutes. At the 1 minute mark, that's when they come out and says, hey, cut into that, make sure it's okay. Because then all the flavor can go, it's done cooking. They'll try to even cook it a little bit under degrees. So if you want it like
because
medium,
it's going to continue to cook a little bit longer. It always does.
That's correct. And when you're cutting into the steak, never cut with the grain. Always against the grain.
Much like Dakota and his picks on this program and in life, you go against the grain. Speaking of which, number one, you're in charge of reading comments because my comment slate has gone blank,
all right,
even though I'm the guy who pays money so that we can have the pro restream account. That's one. And number two, I cook too, and I'm excellent at cooking steaks. I don't use a meat thermometer. I do the touch test. That's all I do. And I know exactly when a steak is medium rare. The pliability, famous term in these parts for a long time. Sort of like the give, that's all you need to do. You have to just cook a couple that way, whether it's a flank or it's a skirt or it's a strip. My personal favorite, the strip. Ribeye,
Ocean Prime strip. You and I have to take, even though you owe me a dinner. Actually, no, I should get to pick where I'm going. So we both.
You're going to go where I got the gift card, guy, and we're going to go to Davio's, right?
which is fine too. Which is perfectly fine. Anyways,
which is great.
Tom Howley checking in from Facebook. I think it's Howley. Will either one of these quarterbacks be a Patriot in 3 years or 5 years?
Oh, great question. The answer is hell yes.
Which one? Which one? Which one?
I don't know which one.
It's going to be Zappe because Mac's done. He's Dunsky, as Christian Fourier would say.
See, I knew it. I had this graphic ready. Dakota, get Mac Jones out of here. I knew. God, you are all about. All right. Tell me honestly, because you've heard my take time and again.
Yes.
You've heard, and yes, everyone, just in case, I do have poison ivy from doing some.
Do you really?
Autumn. Oh, it's awful. Autumn gardening.
From hitting your balls into the fucking trees.
That's I think I got it autumn gardening. However, I did search for a couple of lost balls at a golf course at an invitational last week, so I may have gotten it there.
They didn't have.
Spoiler
goats on
alert!
The course?
This isn't the only place where I have it.
Oh, hey, they didn't have goats on the course.
No, they didn't.
See, and for the audience out there, I'm not talking about Tom Brady. I'm talking about golf courses have real goats on the course because the goats will eat the poison ivy. And at Braintree Municipal Golf Course, they have goats that live on the course, and they
We
will
have
go around.
goats on my
Yes.
hometown golf course.
Yep.
Get
And they move
outta
them
here.
around hole by hole, and they will just eat all the poison ivy, all the goats.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no freaking, that's amazing. Wow. In Braintree, goats on a golf
Real
course.
goat talk. Real goat talk.
2022. It's a hell of a drug. All right. I've told you, so the super unsexy take part 2 that I've been espousing. I did a video about it yesterday. I've said it on the radio. I'll say it again tonight with Mutt. I'll say it again this weekend. Whenever anyone gives me the time of day. The best case scenario for the New England Patriots is that Mac Jones returns.
Yeah.
I don't think for the Bears game. I think you give him one more game off. You get him healthy, fresh, and ready for the real test of how these 2022 Patriots, who are coming together beautifully, defensively. 10 rookies played last week in Cleveland. The offensive line is a powerhouse right now. Like all the tenets, all like the telltale hallmarks of good football are being built and developed right now, from an good return game. Sadly, Cody Davis went down for the year. The special teams are getting better. The secondary is improving. The offensive line is badass. They have a power top 5 running attack. That's all coming together. So either quarterback, when healthy, would have benefited from this. The best thing would be Bailey Zappe proving that he is a viable option, and you've got a great backup if Mac shits the bed or gets hurt and or both again. And Mac Jones is able to sort of like have his come to Jesus moment with Patricia, Judge, Belichick, whatever. I'm not getting into any Burt Breer or Ben Volen things here. And they figure out, okay, so basically this play action power attack version of what we were doing last year that worked so well for Zappe, we're going to do this with you, and we'll fold in a couple of downfield shots and some Alabama slammers like you like to run. And the Patriots will legitimately be a good football team. And that game on the eve of Halloween between the Jets and the Patriots could legitimately be a 5-2 Jets team hosting a 4-3 Patriots team. Like, it's not going to start raining frogs and we don't live in the upside down. Like, that's reality. And so that's what I'm hoping for. Now you tell me and everyone in the chat. Yes, I am done. Now it's your turn. All right. Why do you think Bailey Zappe deserves to take over?
So you're a Patriot fan, and Fitzy, I know you've got good eyes. Okay.
I don't wear glasses.
Let's forget about last year. And let's say that Mac Jones was a free agent and he came in here, and Bailey Zappe came in this year as a free agent, and they went through preseason, which reporters said that Bailey Zappe actually performed better in the preseason.
I'll admit, Andy Hart, co-host of the Six Rings podcast that I do for EEI. Okay. Andy said this summer, Bailey Zappe, of the 3 quarterbacks, Hoya, McCockle, and Zappe, looked the best in this Patriots offense. He looked the smoothest.
Okay. And now the Patriots decided, you know what? Mac Jones, we feel, only because of his draft position, 1st round versus 4th round, or let's say they were both free agents, but let's say they signed Mac first, promised him the job first. Okay, let me go down that road. And then the keys were given to Mac Jones. And he has way too many turnovers. Even his completions, which I have mentioned early in the season, he was throwing into double and triple coverage on his completions, meaning your yards after catch have no shot at completing. And, as I mentioned, the turnovers, and they lose. The only team that they beat is the Steelers, okay, which doesn't have a quarterback or TJ Watt, okay?
Right.
So
yet the Steelers were good enough to beat a hungover Tom Brady last week in Pittsburgh.
First of all, you know what I said about Tom Brady before the season? I said this was the cliff year. To expect Tom Brady to have a terrible year. I said it before the season started, and it's holding true. Okay. With that being, and I did not even go with Tampa Bay in my keeper league, your suicide, because I thought Pittsburgh could beat Tampa. So I stayed away from them, and about 40 people in my pool all got knocked out with Tampa Bay.
And also everyone who was dumb enough last week to have a pile of money line parlays and like Tom Brady last week cost me I think the financial term from Lloyd's of London is, fuck ton of money, because everything I had tied into tease wise and money line was through Tampa, because that looked like the chalk on the board. Side note, Basically this year, everybody, if you bet against where the public is betting, whatever the public side is
against the grain, like what
against the grain, guess what? You're winning over 65% of your bets.
So we need to coin a phrase that those picks would be like a steak pick. What are your steak picks or your steak cuts? We'll have to think about it. We'll have the creative intern come up with something.
Please, if anyone in the chat, which I still unfortunately can't see what you're all about.
So anyways, let me continue with my thought.
All right, go ahead.
So let's just say Mac Jones was giving that opportunity through the first 3 games. How do you think you would feel about the Patriots offense at that point in time in Mac Jones's performance? If you had 2 quarterbacks you thought performed equally in preseason, even though they thought like Andy Hart, Bailey Zappe outdid him, you'd be like, hey, I'm not sure if Mac Jones can win these games. There's nothing wrong with giving the backup at the time. I know it was Hoyer, but let's say Bailey was the backup, an opportunity to see if he can move the offense better and not turn the ball over and ultimately win the game. So just going on those facts alone, you would have to clearly say that Bailey Zappe is a better quarterback for this current New England Patriot team as what you've seen this year. That's all we're going off of, what we've seen this year. Because
what we've seen this year, but what we've also seen this year, Dakota,
is what else have we've seen this year?
Is
a lot of interceptions by Mac Jones. Yep, I get it.
A janky offseason that included installing former defensive coordinators, special
and Bailey Zappe has to deal with the same coaches and the same staff.
But that's all he's ever known with the Patriots. Whereas Mac Jones is but no, it does matter because Mac Jones.
That's an excuse. You're wearing a Bailey Zappe T-shirt for Christ's sakes, okay?
Oh, someone sent it to me. I told him I would. I'm enjoying it. It literally says. Okay. It literally says right here on the shirt. This is my backup shirt. So that's very clever.
Funny.
I thought it was pretty well done.
That is pretty clever. Let me ask you this. So Bailey Zappe, do you think he has better footwork in the pocket than Mac Jones from what you've seen?
I will say this. I like the fact that, and point has been made of this. He steps up nicely. He does a better job of stepping into the pocket.
That would constitute better footwork in the pocket, okay? We all remember Tony Eason with his happy feet, okay? Remember Tony Eason with his happy feet? Okay, I remember it, okay?
So I guess Dakota would prefer Zappe feet over Mac's happy feet. I'm Hackman with your local sports.
True. The other thing, okay, that I like what he does is when he does step up, he actually has a lot more zappiness on the ball instead of zippiness. Like his ball comes out a little bit cleaner and tighter than Mac Jones. I'm not saying that he has a stronger arm, which I still think he does. It's not by much. But when he's on the run or
Mac Jones has a stronger arm.
I'm not really sure about that. Mac Jones throws a lot of hospital balls that I've mentioned all of last year and this year. He puts too much air under the balls. That gives a secondary plenty of time to recover and kill the receiver. So far, I have not seen one hospital ball thrown by Zappe. Not one. And Mac Jones is good for one again.
Gentle reminder, reality check. Mac Jones, his senior year, that record-setting year, I understand he did have Waddle for half the season, Devonta Smith, Najee Harris.
Yeah,
was the most accurate quarterback in the history of Division I
college
football. And last season, he was incredibly accurate from the pocket. He was great against
the blitz as
well.
Who DM'd you this?
I believe it or not, I actually did my own research. How about that? How about somebody actually coming to a live stream with factuals?
And I was
very accurate last year. Mac Jones throws a good ball, and he worked during the offseason to improve his drive with Tom House and his arm strength. Look, Bailey Zappe has only known these guys, so there's no other Patriots offense or scheme, play calls, terminology. You son of a bitch. To have worked with. Okay, speaking of City Winery, spare me. Go get a glass. Whereas Mac Jones had the McDaniels offense last year. He was in the Earhart, Perkins, Belichick, Weiss, McDaniels offense. Now he's stepping into this reconfigured version with Judge Patricia. And those guys, by the way, are actually doing a pretty good job. So we can all get off pissing and moaning about the coordinators or the offensive play calling triumvirate cadre, whatever you want to call them.
I've got some
There's
comments.
a little bit of there's an adjustment going on right now.
I get it. I got some comments, some to back you up. Larry Young, Dakota's takes are awful. Thank you. Thank you very much. I take pleasure.
Original title for the show. We didn't think it was catchy enough.
I think it actually might be pretty good though. What else we got? Mac Jones gets too nervous. Chris Russell chimes in. Mac Jones gets too nervous. So
he's walked himself into a number of sacks, pressures, or throws where he's actually back-footed the ball. He has. And Bailey Zappe, like I told you last week, Bailey Zappe, who's only played 2 3/4 games, 2 starts, and he should have won the damn game.
Looks like the more seasoned quarterback.
He's smooth.
Looks like he's a gym rat.
Play action handoff.
He's a gym rat.
I love how easy he is.
You know, Fitzy, I was trying to think, and I mentioned this last week on Sports
Don't do it too much. It'll give you a headache.
No headaches yet today. That Bailey Zappe reminds me of another version of Jimmy Garoppolo in a certain way, with size, the way he moves, his fake handoffs, the step up in the pocket. Hopefully he's not as fragile as Jimmy G, because as soon as he gets hit, he goes down.
Jimmy loves throwing the ball. His favorite target is usually the other team's safety.
I know. I'm just saying, like
I love Jimmy G.
His quarterback mannerisms, if that's QB-isms, if I guess we can call it. That reminds me. The other thing that, and I looked at another athlete, he's like Doug Flutie in a way, a winner. Doug Flutie makes winning plays, and I have a feeling that Bailey Zappe is going to be a better version of Doug Flutie because he has a little bit more physical attributes than Doug Flutie, as Doug Flutie tried as an NFL
all over the map. You've called him Brady-esque.
No. I've never called him Brady. I called him Montana. I called him Joe Montana.
Oh my God. Yes. So he's been designed in a quarterback lab. He's part Flutie, part Montana, part Garoppolo. So he's Doug. Yeah, we're gonna start calling him Doug Montanpolo from now on.
So let me ask you this question: I know we have Chicago.
I love you, honestly, dude. Yeah. You legitimately have the best worst takes. Like, they're so bad. They're amazing.
What constitute a worst take? Just because people disagree with them, they're their worst take? Like a worst take to you is that you don't agree with me. No. And so what happens if Bill Belichick
part Doug Flutie, part Joe Montana, and part Garoppolo?
Hold on a second. Was it a bad take? Were they bad takes?
Drinking yet, and I feel like I'm hammered listening to
Were they bad takes when people said after a few games that Tom Brady is a better quarterback for that New England Patriots team?
But you've been hearing that. If you read the Globe or listened to Ordway on Sports Radio,
right?
They said the same thing. Everybody did. It was universal, and Drew Bledsoe looked like Han Solo frozen in carbonite.
So that was episode 4? No, 5.
5. The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, Empire Strikes Back. Yes. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's do. So Amstel 54 must love his Amstel Light. If Zappe smokes the Bears, he will be starting the following week. Well. Definitely.
Right. If he does, because the Bears have no rushing defense. This is like the 4th week in a row, by the way. The Patriots are going up against a team with, I think the Pro Football Focus term is shithole rushing defense.
Can I say something? Why we're
Packers can't stop the run. The Lions can't stop the run. Cleveland couldn't, although they gamed up against it. And it was very interesting. Andrew Callahan, and now, of course, the Bears. Andrew Callahan had a great tweet in the game where he was keeping some stats on his own. This wasn't any sort of next gen or Pro Football Focus shit. He said, Cleveland is doing a better job than expected against the run because the Patriots are running 90% of the time that Zappe was under center and throwing most of the time that he was in shotgun. So on 3rd and 10, when they were not even in the red zone yet, when Ramondre got the 31-yard rushing touchdown, what did they do? They ran out of shotgun. And I remember at the time thinking, like, holy shit, the Patricia algorithm is learning. It's learning. It's like I thought that was a ballsy call. The other big touchdown, the 3rd and 1 play action to Hunter Henry. They were all expecting a run.
And you know who had shorts. And you know who had a take to lambaste all those takers out there that said, what is Bill Belichick doing, giving the offensive coordinator's job to Matt Patricia? I was there defending him because people were looking at Matt Patricia being a bad coach only based upon him failing as a head coach. It doesn't take away that Matt Patricia has a great football mind. And if you can work on your defense, you have a really good understanding of how the offense can work as well. And I was one of the only that said, give Matt Patricia some time, give Joe Judge some time, that they will figure it out. And guess what? If Mac Jones was still the quarterback, I think there's a lot of blame at the offensive coaches. And that's another reason why I think Bill Belichick is going to do what's right for the team and keep Bailey Zappe in. And if Bailey Zappe plays and wins in Chicago, there is no way in hell that he can have Mac Jones go into New York, into the Meadowlands, okay, to face the New York Jets coming off of, not playing in 4 weeks. Can't do it. This is the season. The season decision is on the line for Bailey Zappe Monday night. Bill Belichick, if he really wants Mac Jones and thinks Mac Jones is the quarterback of this team, he has to start Monday night in Chicago. End of story. Against my wishes, but he has to play him against Chicago if he believes that Mac Jones is the future this year. He can't let Bailey Zappe.
So if like Doug Kyde and other people's reports are correct, and Mac Jones is not expecting to start, but he's expecting to be healthy enough, expecting to be ready. It'll be 4 weeks since the high ankle sprain. Then, and he should be around 90%. That should be good enough, or so many believe, to start against the Bears. So if he's in uniform, then he's probably going to start, because you don't want to have him on, basically getting cuckolded on the sidelines with everyone looking over him like, well, there's McCorkle, Mac Jones, like just watching Bailey Zappe do his job. That would be awkward. I got to be honest. That would be awkward for all parties involved. If Zappe starts, either Mac Jones's ankle isn't good enough. I can't believe Belichick would be trying to send further messages to him. I think at that point, you're basically saying, like, we're riding the hot hand, which would be mind-boggling, because they took Mac Jones in the first round last year.
Doesn't matter.
The character assassinations of Mac Jones and the criticisms of this guy are making me feel like I'm on crazy pills. Is anyone backing me up in the chat?
No. If the Chicago Bears, gonna go after don't mute me. Don't you mute me. I've got messages. All
right. You know what? He's getting muted for a second. That's, timeout, everyone. Can we just please have a timeout, a reality check? Seriously, do we, as well as Bailey Zappe has played, as much as we all love Zappe Hour, if you're Zappe and you know it, clap your hands. He makes me zappy. Zappity doodah, the whipper zapper, all of it. I'm here for every bad joke, dad joke, name game, pun. I bathe in all of them, just like I do Pat's victories and free beers. Do we really think Mac Jones is that bad, or had fallen that far so quickly, fallen out of favor, lost his mind, forgotten how to play quarterback, that he can't do this? Are we serious? You got to be shitting me. That's just all I needed to say. Look, my favorite quarterback, whoever's playing for the Patriots, and especially the one that gets the win. I just needed to say that. Shame on Dakota. All right, should we let him back in? I'm sorry that my chat function is broken. It'll work next week. Dakota will relay people's replies to my little diatribe. I just needed to say that. It's banana town that you're just like, oh, this kid looks great. That's it. Ditch him.
So guess who chimed in the chat channel? I think this is Ben Volan's source, because there is no name. It just says Facebook user. That's the name. So there's a guy on Facebook sending in chats. We have no idea who he is. So it's got to be Ben Volan's source.
What's he say?
He says, this is a media-driven freaking drama.
Thank you.
Is it though? No, but is it though? How?
Yes, it is.
Bailey Zappe has performed better this year than what we've seen out of Mac Jones. You can't dispute that. Whether you think Mac Jones has more upside, you can argue that all day long. But based upon the two quarterbacks of what they produced on the field, there is no doubt that Bailey Zappe has performed better. End of story. In a Fitzy, if you can't see that, then Dr. Steven Nielsen at the Laser Eye Center over in Quincy, you should be running to the next time that you're in town, okay?
All right, I might visit him because I do have trouble seeing at night. And also, anytime I'm in Quincy, that gives me a chance to go to my personal favorite sports bar, the Fours. I get a Bobby Orr, of course, the steak tip sandwich, maybe a draft or two. It's an amazing.
All right, this one's right. Hey,
and you got to get the chowder. Have you ever been to the chowder, by the way, at the Fours in Quincy?
I've never tried chowder. I've never tried chowder in my life. I have no idea even what it tastes like.
Who am I doing a show with? You grew up in the South Shore. You have never tried. What is wrong with you?
It just doesn't look appealing.
Much like Ben Volen, I should have vetted my sources before I agreed to start doing a Thursday live stream with you.
Hey, Jordan Watson chimes in on the chat channel, and you're going to like this, Fitzy. And if Kerry Byrne was here, I'd like him to check in too. Mac Jones is like an ale where typically you know what you're going to get. And Zappe is like an IPA. Could be really good or really bad. So,
okay. Mac Jones in this case would be a lager because there's not too much variations with lagers. You can do different, you can slightly vary them depending on if you're using like German Pilsners and malts, or if it's a domestic, it could be a shitty domestic light beer. It could be an Italian Pilsner, or one of my new favorites, a rice lager. But basically, there are slight variations therein. That's Mac Jones, a little bit more predictable. Takes a little bit longer to brew as well. Whereas Bailey Zappe is the IPA. They don't take as long to make. They're technically a younger beer as well, but some of them can be like absolute home runs, like an awesome one I had last night from Channel Marker, kick-ass brewery up in Beverly. Of course, I love the vitamin C. You can see them back on the shelf behind me. Or some of the IPAs can be all hype. They can taste like shit, lousy hop bill, too old, cheap grains, whatever. So yeah, I can see that. Bailey Zappe's the IPA, the flavor du jour. Mac Jones, more tried and true, consistent flavor. By the way, I am here for all the beer comparisons to our favorite football players.
So was that a good get by me picking that shout out then?
Yes, nice job cherry picking appropriately from the comment section.
I'm like Mike Adams' old Candy. Remember Candy on his show that used to read all the text and emails? I think it was.
No, I remember. I started listening to Planet Mikey right around the time Patio was heavily involved. I love that kid.
Patio.
Remember Patio? He was like the producer on Planet Mikey for a long time.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember?
No,
really?
No, it must have been at the same time they were trying to force clam chowder on me.
Oh, anyways, I cannot. Honest to God, you've never tried chowder.
Never tried it.
We have so much content to like Dakota's first chowder. By the way,
and they're all asking you to, because I have never tried chowder. They all want you to mute me again.
No problem. I have no issue with that. Whatever. How can anybody from Massachusetts, New England, the South Shore, where you have access to some of the freshest, sweetest, most delicious seafood in the world, not have ever tried chowder? You know what? Actually, hold on. I'm going to bring Dakota back in for this. You know what? I'll be Bailey Zappe's. I'll be a Zappe Hour guy.
Yeah.
I'll be Team Zappe for one reason. Larry
Jones says Dakota is a fraud. I want to know, Larry, why do you think I'm a fraud? That I'm lying about clam chowder?
I'll go Team Zappe Hour for what? Why am I a fraud? Then the guy chugs his celery juice. I'll be part of the Zappe Hour. I'll have Zappe feet for one reason only. Mac Jones said he'd never grew up. He never you get that. That's probably Zappe's people thanking you for another 200 Twitter followers.
Steve DiFilippo saying he's got the best chowder around. Davios.
What in the whole, Mac Jones has never eaten seafood, says he doesn't plan on eating seafood. He's not a seafood guy. How do you grow up on the coast of Florida and then move to Massachusetts?
So the first seafood I ever had, I was about 16 years old, and I tried swordfish. I was up at my my aunt's place up in Wingashiek Beach, and the only thing they were cooking for dinner was swordfish. I had no choice. She goes, "Just try it." She put like 3 different lemons on it, and it was okay. It was tolerable. I was hungry. I ate it, and then I've only tried tuna one time. The only fish. I still have never eaten lobster. I've had shrimp. So I've had shrimp. I like the fried shrimp and the
fried shrimp. No more counts as seafood.
Yeah,
as McDonald's count. Jesus.
So, anyways, the first and only time I've ever had tuna was when Bill Parcells came back to coach the Patriots. My buddy invited me to the Patriot game, and we tailgated, and they cooked tuna on the little hibachi out in the park. And that was the only time I've ever had.
Roll up flat top.
That's it. I'm not a fish guy. I've never had salmon, never had scrod, any of that stuff. I just oysters, forget it. I don't do it.
You have never done. I mean, you haven't even lived until you've done like Duxbury or
I hate fried clams. Larry, you're right. I hate fried clams. I don't even think I've even tried fried clams. There's something about the ocean, things from the ocean that I can't do. I don't know what it is.
Okay, and I'm more terrified of the ocean than I am space, because the ocean goes 8 miles deep into the Marianas Trench, and we've never even been to the bottom of it. The shit that can survive in the ocean is terrifying. That said, whoever created this big rotating marble of madness, perfectly distanced from a burning hot star, almost as hot as your takes, to keep us alive with the atmosphere, and filled 3/4 of the planet with free food. All we have to do is just treat it sustainably, and we can eat for life. Like, the friggin' metaphor, like, teach a man to fish, like feed forever. My God. And you've resisted it. Instead, you're like, oh, yes. Can I fill the world with more cow farts? What? Tell me how much the Ocean Prime strip steak is tonight. Oh.
What does the reference with space have to do with things in the ocean? Whether you eat?
Because some people, I'm on team. The ocean is more terrifying than space. Some people are like, you don't know what's out there, man. I'm like, we don't know what's at the bottom of this, and we eat from it.
Well, you do. I don't.
Right. I'm healthier than you. That's
why I like chicken or birds that fly. They're in space, so I much rather eat that.
Birds that fly. You could have just said birds. Most of save the ostrich. They all fly, knucklehead.
I mean, listen. I grew up reading. The cow jumped over the moon. I ate cow
and landed on your plate with garlic mashed potatoes and asparagus.
I love cow because he jumped over the moon.
All right, let's get to. All right, so your team Zappe. I'm not necessarily team Mac. I understand why he would come back in time. I still would give Zappe one more start. Then I would return Mac.
The chat line is blowing up. I got to get to some of these.
All right, go ahead. Before we get to our picks, we have our prop shop. I have my idiotic 3-team teaser, and we have Dakota's lock of the week. So stay tuned for that. Hit us up with some chat.
Yeah, Larry Young chiming in again. I'm a food fraud, whatever. I'll call 5 people right now. They know what I eat and know what I don't eat. The Jordan Watson, your parents nailed your name because you eat like you're from North Dakota. Thank you. I
okay, good. I'm going to read this right now because people understand that I can't, unfortunately, access the chat on the damn streaming account that I pay for. At Harmy G on Twitter wanted to make sure I read this. Fitzy, every time you mute Dakota, an angel gets its wings.
That's pretty good. Another one, Dakota prefers tofu. I've never even tried tofu, so I don't even know what tofu like.
Tofu sucks. Tofu is the tofu. You don't know?
Yeah, like raw meat or something, or
no? Yeah. Oh my God, that's tartar.
Okay, what's tofu? I have no idea because I don't eat it.
It's like the spongy soy horse shit that a lot of vegans and vegetarians eat. I hate it. Tofu I can't do. I'll eat vegetarian. I love like the Impossible Burgers or Beyond Sausage or whatever, like all those things. They're brilliant. They're delicious.
All right.
But
I think that we've got more food. We could do like a Zappe hour on food. Like I've never seen so many comments about food in there.
It always gets people going. Dude, I've told you before, when I'm hosting on the radio, whether it's either my own show or if I'm filling in for someone else, if I ever bring up some sort of food conversation or food debate, people go wild. The liveliest I have ever seen the phones on the morning show, the morning show hosted by Marconi winner Greg Hill.
I know. Congratulations to Gregory Hill.
Okay, you said it. Was sometime this summer I filled in for Greg Hill, and it was me, Courtney, and Wiggy, and we got into a best summer ice creams and your favorite local creamery or dairy. Dude, the phones, like Zappe versus Mac, doesn't light the phones up. We had an hour there was no line available, and everyone was calling in with like, no, you got to go to this place. You get this topping. You get this. And I love that. I love when people passionately defend their food takes or their favorite food items.
Well, Nicholas Colito's asking you to find a tofu beer. I don't even know if that's possible. Can it be done?
Well, you can have an oyster. Yeah, of course. You can always put an adjunct, especially in like a stout. The guys at Devil's Purse in Dennis, who make one of the best Kolsch's in the world, super refreshing. They make an oyster stout. Right. So they put oyster shells in the stout. It's delicious.
All right, listen, before we get to the picks, I have a conspiracy of the week.
Oh, okay.
Conspiracy of the week
on the show. Go ahead.
So let's go down the narrative from Andy Hart that said Zappe performed better. The rumblings from Ben Volen and everybody else that's saying the coaches like Bailey Zappe better. They prefer him. He understands. But when Mac Jones got hurt, Hoyer was named the starter, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't go right to Bailey Zappe. So I think that Green Bay game, they told Hoyer, hey, go take a fall. Because when Hoyer went down, we're like, he didn't even hit his head. Where did Hoyer hit his head that deemed to be a concussion, lost for 3 weeks? That's what I want to know. So I think they sent Hoyer out there and said, listen, you're our number 2, but we want Bailey Zappe in the game. Go down. As soon as you get hit, go down and then come out, go into the blue tent, and then you're done. And it was the last we saw of Hoyer because he didn't have.
I just want anyone watching or listening right now. I have to the opinions of Steve Happus, aka Dakota from Braintree, do not necessarily reflect anybody related to or that broadcasts alongside Nick Stevens, otherwise known as Fitzy GFY, on his own social media channels or WEEI FM Boston. Thank you, and GFY. Just needed to put that out there right now. Yeah, we knew Robert
Chat lines
Kraft
blowing up.
Yeah,
I did a bad job of vetting Dakota. Can't be bringing me on.
Like I say in my Twitter bio, I do this for fun, so don't be a dink. This is all nonsense. Just because I happen to have some radio shows, and yes, I have to maintain some modicum of broadcast or journalistic integrity there, doesn't mean that any of this is to be taken seriously. We're doing this just for fun. Dakota also doesn't have those jobs, and it's for a good reason. You're telling now that Robert Kraft wanted Bailey Zappe in so bad, because I'll tell you exactly why. Because Isaiah Wynn is so bad at his job that Rashawn Gary blew by him like somebody who sees that the Walmart doors open at 4 a.m. on Black Friday and needs to get that PS5 for $200 less than they're selling it on Amazon. That's why. Isaiah Wynn, the most penalized offensive lineman, player in the NFL this season. Win happened. That's why.
Les Ingalls or Ngales check it in on the chat line. I saw the man in the grassy knoll whispering to Hoyer pregame.
Cut to Brian Hoyer's house. Hi, Brian Hoyer here.
You would be wise to take fall Sunday at Lambeau. You will hurt head and take nice paid vacation.
I think it's a pretty good conspiracy theory.
Well,
it's a conspiracy theory. Listen,
exactly
people think that the Twin Towers were taken down by our own government. No, they weren't. Okay, that's a conspiracy theory.
All right. Finally, you said something like, it only took you 48 minutes and 13 seconds to say something rational on the show. All right, let's get to our best bets prop shop. We'll start here. If this doesn't make me all the money back that I've lost on all my wagering thus far this season, the almost, the could-haves, the should-haves, and the would-haves, if this doesn't, then next week I'll give you control of the mute button on the D picks, and you can run the show. Here it is. Fitzy's idiotic 3-team teaser for week 7 in the NFL. Give me Dallas, who's currently favored by 7. You get your standard 6 points. That's Dallas just has to win by more than a point against the Lions, who are coming off the bye. Give me the Bengals, who are home against the surging Falcons. Now, the Falcons are 6-0 against the spread this season.
And if you listen to the over-under special that Fitzy and I said I liked Atlanta this year. Mariota was going to maybe win comeback player of the year or whatever that award is. Go back and find the clip, because I was all over Atlanta preseason, said they're going to be a lot better and more competitive this year. And Mariota, it was going to help that team tremendously.
You should have bet them on your win total as opposed to the Steelers at 7.5. Also, anyone who listens to us, we also both said that there was no way the Giants got to 8 wins, and they've already got 5 in 6 games. So
I know
who knows shit. And last but certainly not least, give me the under in this 3-team teaser. in Pittsburgh at Miami, the Sunday night game. Now, Tua should be back in time.
He's
However,
playing. Tua's in.
Yeah, Tua should be playing. Pittsburgh, these games average like 34 to 36 points, I believe it was, tops. Yes, I know they have better wide receivers in Miami than they've had in recent year, but you're going to have either Trubisky or a recently and unfortunately concussed Kenny Pickett starting down there. There's no chance. Now, it's 45. I don't trust that just in case there's a Tyreek explosion or a Waddle-thon, but you put this one up to 51, 1, 2, 3, guaranteed. And like I said, if this doesn't hit, you're hoping next week.
Maybe, but I will say you're forgetting one thing on the side. See, I think Pittsburgh has a shot of upsetting them in Miami.
That's fine. If their defense balls out and Tua is rusty, that's fine.
Every week you come out with your revenge game theory.
Mm-hmm. I love a good revenge.
Minkah Fitzpatrick going back to Miami. 2 picks, 1 for a touchdown, sack on the final game, fumble recovery. Maybe TJ. I don't know if TJ Watt's coming back. He's probably not this soon.
Not yet.
But it could be a revenge game. Plus, I need Pittsburgh for my over/under season bet, so I'm going to be rooting hard for Pittsburgh.
Let's go to right now. I'll give you a couple of props because this, of course, is Underdog Fantasy. Once again, underdogfantasy.com. Promo code FITZY up to $100 match back on your initial deposit. I love playing the pick'em. Last week I hit a nice one. Made a lot of my money back on that one, which was great after a couple of whiffs. Here's your prop shop. Here are my favorite prop bets for week 7. I got you with Ezekiel Elliott over 59.5 rushing yards against Detroit and their league worst running attack. I got Taylor Heineke, who's taken over quarterback for the Commandos. Just give me over 2.5 rush attempts. No way he loves to run. He's one of those guys who just like tucks it. He does a little tuck and dash like Lamar, like Justin Fields does as well. And he'll do that a ton Monday night. Also, give me over Joe Mixon 15.8 fantasy points. I think you're going to get a lot of Joe Mixon in the Atlanta game, mostly because Atlanta cannot stop the run. So I could see Mixon putting up a good night. Couple of screen passes as well in there. And finally, Aaron Rodgers, you got to show up, guy. He's had more than 1.5 touchdown passes, I think, in 5 of the 6 games this year so far. Green Bay has got to get back on track. This is a get-right game against the Commandos in our nation's capital. So that's right. Rodgers over 1.5 touchdowns.
Which
Mixed over 15.8.
Yeah.
And then Heineke, and then over with Zeke 59.5.
Yeah.
Love that.
Heineke actually is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz, by the way. Actually, I think Washington will put up more points with Heineke. So
do I.
So I think, and Washington can't stop anybody. I think it was, it's something that every time I look up, there's either a 40-yard defensive pass interference call on a safety, or they're getting blown past.
Blown. Easy, Chris Collinsworth. You got to be careful.
I know.
You got to be.
Did you see the hole he came through on that one? It's amazing. You see this stuff on TikTok?
Well, he's like, hey, Mike, how'd you like to have, what was it like? Next thing you know, you look up and you've got Jason Kelsey coming down your throat. Whatever he said, it was like.
Yeah, I know. Hey, the chat, we have a chat question on who should they take? Should they start Tua or Geno Smith in fantasy this week? So here's what I would say.
Where's Seattle?
You look that up, but here's what I would say about Tua. Well, I have the chat thing today. You don't. So anyways,
fine. I'll do the research.
Pittsburgh, for the most part, runs a zone defense in the secondary, and the zone defense will usually stop the scrambling type quarterback. So Tua, to me, I'd go over the rushing yards for Tua, and it's probably going to be set low because of it. They say he's going to be afraid to run because of the concussion. So I bet you the over/under on Tua is lower, and you can run a little bit better, I think, against that zone, because they're going to force Tua to pass, and he's going to have opportunity to run. So
I'll tell you right now, looking at Action Network, percentage of the leader this weekend where percentage of bets are on, and they always say go against the public. It's a very mixed board. Wow. The leader is 88% of the action is on the Seahawks.
Ooh.
88% of bets are coming in, only 12% for the Chargers. A lot of disbelief. I mean, the Chargers, they opened at 8.5. It's down to 5, or you can get the Seahawks at getting 5.5, which is interesting. Yeah, the Chargers have been maddeningly inconsistent so far this season. The other one, believe it or not, It's the other side of our Monday nighter. The Jets coming off of that shaka in Lambeau. The Broncos, for some reason, are still a 1-point favorite over the Jets. 82% of the action is on the Jets right now. So,
well, and there's a lot of value in betting Denver, I think, as the season goes on. I think Denver showed a little bit signs of it in the first quarter, first half. Russell Wilson actually looked okay, and then they just fell flat.
That's a tasty one.
But anyways, getting back to the question,
J.C. Jackson has been so bad. He was benched Monday night.
Ranked like 150th of all like secondary people in coverage, which is terrible. Bill Belichick, right again. So I would go with Geno Smith, getting back to answer that on who to start, because Geno Smith can get you rushing yards and passing yards, and he's put up some big numbers. I think through the first 3 weeks, Geno Smith was in the top 3 of highest fantasy points for a quarterback. So
and that running back what's the hell the name of that running back who took over for Rashad Penny, who went down for the season? Kevin
Walker, was it
Walker? Kenneth Walker. He's been dynamite.
Walker. Yeah,
he's definitely gone off your waivers in fantasy.
All right.
And now,
can I give you my POD or POW? Because I'm the DPOY.
And you can GFY. Here it comes, Dakota's lock of the week. Are you ready?
Doesn't matter who starts at quarterback for your hometown team. I'm taking the Chicago Bears plus the points. It's not that I think that the Patriots can't win the game. I think that they're going to have trouble with Justin Fields. They don't have any quickness at linebacker, and Fields is probably going to rack up tons of yards. He's going to keep them close enough in this game. Maybe have a shot at winning. Depends on who's good quarterback if they turn the ball over. I think Chicago plus the points is in a perfect spot. They just came off a big win against Cleveland. Now they've got the Jets next week, so it's kind of like a sandwich game, and there's a lot of turmoil or maybe trash that's inside that, who to start, who to play, and I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on whoever plays for the Patriots Monday night, and I just see this game staying tight, and I like the Chicago Bears plus the points.
Yeah, for those that are looking for a blowout Cleveland Brown style, lest we forget that Cleveland had a lot of self-inflicted wounds last Sunday as well, and it almost got super interesting and way too tight for its own good when Zappe was not able to return the ball to the line of scrimmage when he was pressured. Therefore, it led to an intentional grounding, which backed up Nick Folk, and then there was a bad snap, and he missed the kick, and my heart was broken because his streak of 64 field goals made from inside the 50 ended. Next thing you know, Cleveland gets the ball, touchdown to Amari Cooper. They should have recovered the onside kick, but one dumbass was half out of bounds when he touched the ball. And then the Patriots scored. Then they turned the ball over, and next thing you know, it's a rout final 38-15. So it was close there for a while. Monday night could easily be as close as well. If Chicago stops the run at all, even though their run defense sucks, and they force the game into the hands of Zapper, or if it's Mac Jones back and he's a little rusty, I can see it. Pats win.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I would never bet an underdog if I didn't think they could win the game. I could easily see an upset happening. I could. Like, it's one of those weird games.
Mm-hmm. Cool story, bro. I'm not hearing it. All right, fine. Yeah, all right, fine. Tell me why before I wrap this shit show up. Why do you think the Bears legitimately could?
This week I have the chat screen, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Next week I'm going to have the mute button, okay? I'm going to control it, okay?
Wait till not when my idiotic 3-team teaser hits, but okay.
So Robert Lewis, Steele the fourth, great name by the way, was mad that I asked the question about Geno Smith or Tua without giving him a name shout out. So Robert, I'm sorry for not mentioning your name.
It comes from a long line of Lewis
family
Steels.
members. Is there a fifth? Is there a fifth? That's what I want.
You know what? When he hits
Steele
the idiotic 3-team teaser this week, he'll make the fifth, and 9 months from now, there'll be a Robert Lewis Steele the fifth. So how about that?
Okay. And is Isaiah Wynn playing this week? That's what I want to know.
Probably. And Marcus Cannon will see action as well. I imagine they'll give Wynn one more go. He's been benched and replaced by Cannon twice. Cannon comes in for those jumbo packages as well. We always love a good jumbo package here on the Deep Picks and anywhere Fitzy celebrates. All right, so there you go. So one more time, just for fun, my idiotic 3-team teaser: Dallas, Bengals, and under in Pitt at Miami. Your classic 6-point teaser. The prop shop: over 1.5 touchdowns for Rodgers, over 15.8 fantasy points for Mixon, Zeke over 59.5 rush yards for Detroit, and Taylor Heineke taking over quarterback of the Commandos, over 2.5 rush attempts, and Dakota's lock of the week.
The Bears plus the points.
Oh, the pain and the shame. All right. Good job by you as always, Guy. He's Steve Dakota Happus. You can follow him and his cash bombs, his dinner plates, and everything else that fills his wonderful world of him at Dakota Happus. Your old pal, Nick Fitzy Stevens at Fitzy GFY. I'll be on Mud at Night tonight, 6:45 to 7:30, previewing Pats Bears. Saturday, 1 to 3 with the Fitzy and Hart show. Monday night after Pats Bears with the Six Rings postgame show, and a brand new episode of the Six Rings podcast comes out Friday morning. Make sure you listen to it. Tell your friends to rate, review, and subscribe. I'll let you know, Dakota.
Yeah.
We had a nice chat with Mark Grody, who works for 670 The Score in Chicago. He's a Bears sideline reporter and radio host in Chicago.
Radio?
Yeah.
Okay.
AM radio is the new FM in Chicago. What do you expect?
Okay.
And he said he sees it be, he says Pats 24, Bears 17. So that Pats Nation is happy, and that's a Dakota cover. So there you go.
That is correct. And by the way, Fitzy, shout out to the Six Rings podcast on Odyssey. As I downloaded the new Odyssey app,
attaboy,
I got prompted, do I want to follow the Six Rings podcast? It came right up as a big overlay.
Nicely,
I X'd out of it. I didn't follow it yet.
You mother son of a... I'll leave you with this today. We always want to leave you with a little sports serotonin. Today is the 18th anniversary of the Red Sox completing the most improbable comeback in baseball, if not sports history. That includes 28-3, down 3-0 against the Yankees. The reversing of the curse was finished as they won 4 straight against the Yankees. Tonight would be 10-6. What was it? Final score 10-6 in Yankee Stadium. I think it was 10. No, I apologize. It was final score 10-3. However, yesterday was the 19th anniversary. I don't have footage of that because I didn't get it in time. However, yesterday was the 19th anniversary of this, what I still believe to be one of the great Patriots wins of the Brady era and easily his greatest throw while wearing the good guy's uniform.
Brady pumps, looking for Brown deep. And throwing for Brown. He's got it at the 30, the 20, the 10. The Patriots have won. Look at them storm the field. A remarkable victory by New England.
And we end with a shot of Fourier's ass.
I know. 04. I will never forget.
That was 03. Yeah, that was 03, and of course 04. Yeah.
For the Red Sox, because at the time I was at 1510 The Zone doing Dakota in the Morning show, and I'll never forget how good it was. Yes, it was 04. Every morning, 7 to 10 a.m. before Eddie Andelman came in with Dave Ziegler, and the diehards with Russello and Pepe were on in the afternoon. Yeah. And it was unbelievable. And I was sitting with Kevin Winter, and when they got down 0-3, I said, on the year, the Red Sox, if they can just win game 4, they're going to beat the Yankees. They'll come back because the pitching staff, the lineup was set because you ended up getting, with Schilling, you could get by and still have Schilling and Pedro to end it at that point. So anyways, 4 in a row in 04 happened against the Yankees, and it happened against the Cardinals that year too. 4 in a row in 04. Because don't forget, they did sweep. They went 4-0 in the World Series. That's right.
Year. Final game. Who started? Pedro started the final game, and Folk closed it out. Ground ball. Folk stabs it.
Do you know?
It was Edgar Renteria, who the Red Sox later signed the next year to be the shortstop in 2005 after Cabrera took a free agent.
Who fielded the final out against the Yankees in Game 7?
Mac Bellhorn.
I think it was Pokey Reese.
Oh, what? Hold on. You know what?
Was it Pokey Reese?
Right now. Hold on. I'm going to watch it right now.
I think it was Pokey Reese.
I'm actually watching it right now. Embry pitches, ground ball to second. Pokey Reese in as a defensive replacement over to Minkiewicz for the out, completing the 4-game sweep and the greatest turnaround.
My memory still works. It's amazing. I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I can remember from 2004 it was Pokey Reese.
All right. That was a great show. Yeah. As always, Dakota, I will talk to you soon. I will see you next week. Eventually, we'll have a meal. Thank you guys for watching. We had a great audience, our biggest one live to date yet. We had a fantastic time. We always enjoy just coming on board. Thank you, guys, for being lighthearted and appreciating the fact that we're just a couple of dicks from the South Shore who love our Patriots, talking football, making bad bets, and hanging out with you guys. Until the next episode, good day. God bless. Go Pats. And as always, go fuck yourself.
See you, Fitzy.
See you,